Hi everyone, welcome back to another video this week on my channel. Today I am going to be kind of following up one of the things that I mentioned in my CVS haul this week, and that is the mail-in rebate for the first response pregnancy test kit. I know a lot of people hear about mail-in rebates, but they can sometimes be a little bit complex for those of us that have never sent one before, don't know how to send them, and I thought it would be really interesting, or beneficial I guess, to be able to put together this video so that you can follow through the steps really simply and be able to submit your first mail-in rebate. If you didn't take part in the deal this week for the first response pregnancy test kit, don't worry, this is a great video that you can basically kind of look back on for multiple other rebates that you may get in the future. Basically the same steps apply. There are very minor differences between submitting this one and submitting other ones that I have done in the past. Essentially the process is very similar and pretty much the same, like I just said. The only difference in this case, as opposed to most of the other ones I have sent in, is this is completely online. You have to follow a verification process, which I will insert all the excerpts so that you can see exactly what I'm doing step by step. And this one you don't actually have to mail in. I guess it's a mail-in rebate video, but this one you don't mail in. This is completely done electronically on your computer, which also cuts time. It also cuts costs as well, because you don't have to send it in with that stamp, so it's just an extra saving for you, which is always great. So yeah, I'm going to run through it, obviously just to jog everyone's mind. We did have this first response pregnancy test kit in the last week's CVS haul, so from the 25th of December, so basically yesterday and kind of last week. To pick this up, this was on a deal for spend $20 and get 5 extra care books at CVS on any ovulation kits and any pregnancy tests. I picked this one up because there was a try one for free in my rebate, and this was for $22 rebate back on any one of these pregnancy test kits. So this was a great deal for a lot of us. This was a really great money maker. If we had a % coupon, this was almost up to a $12 money maker if we had a 30% coupon. So it was a great product to pick up. I've explained in my CVS haul why you maybe want to pick this up even if it's not beneficial to you, so do check that back out if you just want to kind of, you know, get a little bit more info on that. And it's something I will touch on again, but if you just want to kind of rack your mind now about why things like this, products that you may never think of picking up, may be beneficial to your shopping list, then definitely check that video out. So this is the product we are talking about today, and we are going to be submitting the receipt online. As I said, it's a mail-in rebate, but we are actually going to be submitting online this time. I'm going to be showing you all the steps. I'm going to have a screen grab of me in real time actually going through the process of submitting my details on the website, and kind of going through everything to make sure that you understand basically what you're going to be doing and how you need to process it to get the best outcome, which is always to make sure you receive your rebate, because a lot of us think that we've done it correctly, may have missed out some steps, or we just don't keep the information about the rebate, and as a result we actually forget about it, and maybe we then don't have the necessary documents or information in our records to be able to follow it up with the rebate company, and we just miss out, and then we end up with things like a pregnancy test kit that we've never have bought in the first place, and we haven't been reimbursed for it, and then we can't take it back, all that sort of stuff. So we don't want to be in that situation. We want to be in a situation where we get this processed as quickly and as fast as possible with as little problems as possible. So please do follow along, and I hope that you will find this video most importantly helpful and easy to follow. So let's get started. So before we get started, the things that you need to have on hand when you are submitting any mail-in rebate are of course the product itself, and definitely the receipt as well. Make sure you have these two things on hand so that you are able to basically submit it simply and as easily as possible, so you don't have to rummage around and find any more information. This is all you should need most of the time. Because this is an electronic rebate, in this instance you don't need an envelope, and you don't need to fill in you know, the address or your return address or anything like that, so you don't need any labels, and you obviously don't need any postage, so this is great for saving money. However, if you are doing a genuine mail-in rebate, which most of them are, make sure you have some stamps on hand, and make sure you have some envelopes on hand, and make sure that you have a printer so that you can print out all the necessary information that you do need. Most of the time rebates will require you to, even if half of it's done online, will require you to actually print out the verification form. They sometimes will require you to actually snip out the barcode portion of the product and stick it onto the form, and they will sometimes also request, and most of the time actually, that you attach the original receipt. Usually I just staple it on to the form as well, just so everything is together and they can verify that you did in fact buy the product and that you have the evidence to prove that you did buy the product, and then that should be all you need. So make sure you have those things on hand. They're pretty simple things that a lot of us should already have, so that should be no problem, but just to bear that in mind. In this case, our life has been made so much easier because this is completely electronic. All we will need is a camera device to take a picture of our original receipt, or we have the option to scan it, which all of the details will be mentioned throughout this video. If you do want to scan it, that's totally fine, and maybe that will be the better option for some of you who don't have a smartphone, but just make sure you have those things on hand, and yeah, you should really have no problem in doing this. So just follow along the steps now. I'm going to actually cut to a clip of me on the website and how to get to it. I'm just going to say beforehand, it's really simple to get to this website, and if you are trying to look up this particular rebate really quickly, or any other rebate, and you don't have the link on hand, a quick Google search of the actual rebate and the company that's maybe doing the rebate should bring you up the first link, or the first link that pops up should be actually for the, you know, the process of actually being able to submit that rebate. And in other circumstances, it's so widely advertised that you should find lots of other kind of, I guess, secondary sources, websites where you can actually just find the link from a particular informational page, and therefore you can go straight to that rebate thereafter. I know the Duo Fusion one that we had recently was really well advertised. That one has come to its expiry date now, so we can't, you know, if you did take part in that deal and you didn't actually submit it, then you can't now kind of remember about it and then submit it. The date has kind of gone now. But just to make sure that you do it now rather than later, because if you do it later or you leave it too long, there's a high likelihood that you are going to forget about it, and then you won't get the reimbursement that you obviously deserve for it. And it's never good if you buy something and then you don't actually follow through with the steps that you were supposed to in the first place, because then we're just wasting money, and obviously this channel is definitely not about wasting money. It is about saving money as much as possible and as often as possible. So yeah, let's move on to the screen grab here. As I said, I was probably trying to say, if you want to easily find a rebate like that, just do a quick Google search of the product name and then put rebate after it, or if you know the company that's performing the rebates, then put that in afterwards, and you should get a quick link directly to the rebate that you will need. Otherwise, I will leave the link below specifically obviously for this product, so you can go and sort that out, no problem. So there'll be loads of sources on the internet for these rebates, you just need to easily be able to find them. So check the link below. I'll have the direct link to the InMar rebate site, which is obviously processing this first response pregnancy test kit, and when you get to that site, we are now going to cut to that particular page, and you're going to watch me go through that website and explain where you need to go, what you need to be looking out for, and how to fill in the first form. So join me in a moment or two, I guess. Okay guys, so what I'm going to do first is I'm actually going to go to Google. What I'm going to search into Google is obviously kind of a quick and easy method to find this rebate if you don't actually have the specific link. Obviously I am going to give you this specific link in the down bar below, but if you are trying to find this anywhere in any other rebate that you might find that kind of is well advertised and you want to find the link for, I would just recommend kind of typing in the specific company that is offering it, which is InMar Rebates in this case, and then kind of putting in some information as to what it is. Obviously this is the first response pregnancy test, so I would type that in, and the first link here that comes up is this first response promotion center, and obviously let's click on this. So this is going to take us to the first response rebate center. It's going to give us this submit a rebate page straight off, but I would go to home just to kind of verify that everything is here, that, you know, it's to do with the rebate that you are wanting to submit. So this says, welcome to the first response promotion center, manage your promotions online from your computer, submit, track, FAQs, etc. Obviously this is showing you know, what we want to show here, which is obviously the pregnancy test that we want a rebate on. So now we're going to go and submit a rebate. This is going to take us to a page here which has or lists all of the offers that we have here, and then we're going to scroll down, and we're going to scroll right to the bottom, and there is going to be this one here which says it is a try me free first response pregnancy pro kit. It's got the picture to the right. It's also got the code here, which is the code for the rebate. rebate, and it obviously has a select button here. So you're going to press select on this one. This is going to take you to some terms and conditions. So if you just want to quickly read this, it's basically verifying that you need to buy one of the First Response Pregnancy Pro digital pregnancy test kits. It's obviously going to have the app access, and you will receive a refund check by mail of your purchase price, excluding sales tax. So here is where it's giving us the amount it's going to refund us. As I said in my CVS haul the other day, it is obviously a $22 rebate. This is going to be the official mail-in certificate, and you are going to visit this website, which is the one that we are on now. Click to submit a rebate, select this code, which we just did there, print your official rebate form, which we're going to fill in a minute. We're then going to mail a completed official rebate form and the original store identified cash register receipt, and make sure that has a date between the 15th of the 6th 2016 and the 31st of the 12th 2016. Obviously we are in the new year now, so you're not going to be able to take part in this rebate if you purchase it there, you know, there after the 31st. But if you did purchase it on the 12th of, in December, on the 31st or before, you will qualify for this. And obviously it was a deal last week in CVS, so you should still be able to you know, submit this if you were one of the people that took part in the deals within my haul. It says that you need to have the qualifying product on your receipt and also the purchase price circled. That's really important. That just allows the person that or the administrative person that receives your rebate to easily find where the product is on your receipt. And it says no copies of the certificate or cash register are permitted. This is another reason why I always basically tell you to, if possible, get a separate receipt with just the rebate transaction in it, like I did. I did the First Response Pregnancy Test within a separate purchase and everything else within my CVS haul in the same purchase. So that just allows you to kind of keep your CVS bulk receipt for your records. You need to include the original 12-digit UPC barcode, which I'm going to show you in an excerpt from myself, so you can see where you can find that on the product. And then it's just giving you the I guess, is this just, oh, it's basically just saying again, it's saying the offer expires on the 31st of the 12th, but the envelope that you send in must be postmarked by the 14th of the 1st and received by the 31st of the 1st. So basically it means that even though you bought your product in store earlier than this, it means that you can actually still make use of this rebate, obviously after that date. As long as you postmark it by the 14th of this month and as long as they receive it by the 31st, you'll be absolutely fine. You need to mail it to the InMar Rebate Centre. Attention, try it free First Response Pregnancy Pro digital pregnancy test and app access. Make sure that you include the programme, which is the First Response 33 here, PO Box 426015 Del Rio, Texas. And it says here again that the maximum refund check will be $22, limit one refund per family, address or household, so make sure that you don't send in multiple if you have multiple people that have taken part in this offer this week within your household or within one extra care book card. And it says the refund check will be for the purchase price of the qualifying product excluding sales tax. Do bear in mind this time that it is specifying you will get a refund check, but sometimes you also get a prepaid Visa gift card or MasterCard. So it says here, unless expressly prohibited by law, payee authorises reasonable dormancy fees deducted if the check is not cashed within 180 days. And if you are me or anybody that watches me, then you will know that I always kind of express that you should get these things done as soon as possible to make sure that you don't forget about them and make sure that everything is cashed as and when you should have it cashed. So you're going to click this I have read and agreed to the terms and conditions of this offer below. You are going to continue. That's going to take you to this page, which is the First Response Rebate page, and you're going to include all the information that you need to print out of this form. Okay guys, so I just wanted to quickly run over, for those of you that don't know what a UPC code is, where you can find it on your product. It is essentially the barcode, so the barcode on every product is called a UPC code. So you just need to kind of look around your product, see if you can find the barcode. In this particular case it's on the side here, and you will notice that there are some numbers on the barcode. It's going to circle on the actual rebate before you submit the information where exactly it wants you to take the number from. In the case of this rebate, it actually wants you to just take this middle number here, and the two smaller numbers on either end it doesn't want you to include. Sometimes it wants you to include these, sometimes not, but this specific rebate just specifies and circles that it wants these numbers or numbers in the middle. So make sure that you kind of write those into your rebate form before you submit to be able to upload your pictures. It's really simple. The UPC code is essentially the barcode, like I said, and it will always let you know which numbers to include. If you are unsure, just include all of them, even these small numbers on either side, because it's definitely not going to harm you. It's just something that, as I said before, and I'll keep saying it, it's definitely to overdo things than underdo them, just to make sure you've covered all bases. So yeah, so that's exactly where you find the UPC code. It works the same for every single different product that you will probably need to submit via a mail-in rebate, so bear that in mind. It's just really simple. I think sometimes they're complicated, sometimes when you're starting out couponing and they refer to it as a UPC code, but yeah, it's essentially just the barcode. This is going to send you to this particular page here, and this is your receipt upload and attach. So it says click here for an example original dated register receipt image. So you're going to, it says here, upload instructions, write this unique code with pen on receipt images. So it says 0OF. You're going to circle the eligible products including the purchase price, take a photo on your mobile phone or scan your original dated register receipt. For best results, scan images in black and white with a resolution of 300 dpi or lower, verify the following are in the images, so the unique code on all images, the total receipt purchase price is displayed, save to your computer and upload it as a JPEG or a PNG file. Files must be no more than 4 megabytes per file, and you need to upload up to 6 images if you have more than one receipt. Click the upload and review image. If the image appears unclear, delete and try again, and then we can obviously upload it. So let's move on to doing this. And okay guys, so what I've got here is just a copy of my receipt. This is just going to show you how I've actually kind of gone about marking my receipt to make sure that everything goes through and processes fine as far as the mail-in rebate. So mine is quite a long receipt, and sometimes if you do have a long receipt, you are going to have to actually upload it in multiple different photos. So for my case, I took it in 4 photos. I would kind of take one here, I would probably take another one here, here, and then the end of the receipt, just so they can see that it is obviously at the end of the receipt. And in my case, I always like to overlap the photos just to make sure that they kind of run on from each other and there's no kind of mistaken that it is from the same receipt. So do just bear that in mind. What I've done here on the mail-in rebate, it does actually ask you to put a unique verification code all over your receipt. I've done this in a black marker. In my case I used a Sharpie, but I do think you should use a pen that is quite kind of not vibrant, but one that stands out a lot. So I've done this in the Sharpie, like I said, so it's black. And also I've done it in capital letters just to make sure it stands out as well. I've included it in every single photograph, so I've actually marked it multiple times down my receipt, as you can actually see here, just so there's definitely kind of no way that they can say that it wasn't marked. It's pretty obvious on mine from this that it is marked everywhere. And I would say with rebates, overdo it rather than underdo it, just to make sure you've covered all your kind of all of the necessary things that they want you to do. So on this rebate as well, it asked you to circle the actual product here. So there we go, I've circled the product, and I've also circled the price because it's asked you to do that. I've just done this in a normal pen. That's totally fine. Obviously this is the only product on the receipt, so it's a little bit obvious which one it is, and I guess that's another reason why I would kind of recommend you to do a separate transaction for your mail-in rebates. It makes it a lot clearer for the administrator who actually looks at your rebate to just clarify that you have in fact purchased this particular product. And obviously when you've only bought one thing, that kind of makes it pretty obvious. So yeah, once you've done this, taken the pictures on your phone, upload them to your computer, send them in an email to yourself, whichever is best for you. You could even probably send them in terms of Bluetooth, and then when you download those to your PC, I would actually leave a folder on your PC separately just for all of your mail-in rebate receipts. That just kind of makes sure that everything is in one folder and you don't kind of mistake where the receipts are if you need to kind of come back to them for your records. So yeah, I'm now going to kind of cut back to myself talking, and I'm going to explain kind of how to go about the next steps. Okay, so you just saw there that I'd obviously gone through everything with you to make sure that your receipt was all up to scratch so that you were ready to upload it. So we're going to now browse, and we are going to find within our computer obviously where we need to be to access the receipts. So in my case it's going to be these mail rebates. I'm going to open that folder, and here are all of my JPEGs. So as you can see here, they're all
they're all here. What I'm going to go and do now is I'm going to click browse. I'm going to upload my first picture, so I'm going to upload it. As you can see here, it's going to come up. We need to browse for the second image, which is here. We can upload this one, so now you're going to have 2. Browse the third picture, upload it. You're now going to have 4. Browse for the 4th picture, which is the end of receipt, and you are going to have all 4 pictures. So then you're going to be able to press continue. Just double check that they are all in order, and press continue. So this is going to go to review your submission. You are going to be able to review everything that you've put in. This may take a little bit of time. And here we go. It says, thank you for your submission. To track your rebates, see the address in terms and condition. So here it is here. It says manufacturer, first response, offer code, offer description, the date, all of your details here. And then it says here submission. So it's going to give you a submission receipt. It's going to give you the barcode for your submission. And again, all of those terms and conditions again here. Now for my personal kind of files and everything, I want to print this page just so that I have everything on file. So I am going to print that just to make sure that I know that everything is you know, in correspondence. I do know that I've just also received an email there as well, so that's great. And we're going to go to continue, and it's going to take us back to submit a rebate. We know everything is completely fine here. I'm going to go onto my emails, or not, as the case may be. So here's my emails. So this one here should come up, this first response promotion. So click on this and it's going to give you basically all the information that you've just printed out on that page. Keep note of this. It says here allow 4 to 6 weeks for processing. So yeah, just make sure that everything goes to plan. You keep a note of this. I always keep a note of this in my phone or anything like that. So just make sure that you keep a lookout for this 4 to 6 weeks of processing, and it should arrive in the post for you.
So like I said, in the case of this particular rebate, it was completely electronic and made super easy for us. There was no paper filling, form filling, there was no attaching things onto anything. This was completely electronic, which was great. However, if you do have one where you do need to do some elements online and some elements kind of, you know, yourself on a form or a form filling exercise, then just make sure that everything is included in the envelope that you need to send off. You shouldn't ever need to send anything in more than a first class envelope. Yes, you could send it tracked, and in some ways I would probably say do send it tracked, but then you can actually end up spending more just for sending the mail off in the first place, when the chances of them receiving the rebate anyway is pretty high, especially when you receive verification through the website. Like in this particular case, you obviously know, or they know that you've obviously started the process, so there shouldn't be too much of an issue. The chances, like I said, of them not receiving the mail are very slim, but if you just want to cover all your bases, then definitely send it tracked. I have never sent any of mine tracked, just for the purpose of I don't want to be using or spending more money than I need to when the chances of them getting it is high, you know. Like, cross my fingers. I know that might backfire, maybe on a couple in the future now I've said that, but I have sent all of mine in just a first class non-tracked envelope and it's been fine. That just requires one first class stamp, or the forever stamps I think I use. And just make sure that when you do send it that everything is sealed. I always like to put a little bit of sticky tape on the back just to make sure that it doesn't open on its route there, and also I just make sure that the address really stands out, and sometimes I actually put clear sticky tape over the address just to make sure that, you know, if it does hit some bad weather or snow gets on it or rain gets on it or anything like that, that it doesn't smudge the address and obviously affect kind of the delivery of the rebate. I kind of just have to, I worry about everything and I make sure that everything is covered just in case, to cover all my bases, like I said numerous times in this video. So if that is the case, make sure that double and triple check that everything is in there. Make sure your certificate is in there, which is the form that you fill in. Make sure the UPC code is clearly written on the form, or the actual barcode from the product is cut out if that is a request of theirs, and just make sure that the original receipt is in there. I like to staple mine to the form so it can't go go missing when they open it or fly out of the envelope or something. And I just make sure that, yeah, everything is really tightly sealed in the envelope. All of the information is really protected, either by kind of, like I said, clear sticky tape, or if you have one of those pouches that go on bigger mailers, maybe you could use one of those, whatever you've got on hand that's going to work best for you. But yeah, just make sure that everything is like really done to the nth degree. Just make sure that, or the nth degree, make sure that everything is just overthought, and make sure that everything is perfect so that you're not going to run into any problems. And then obviously pop it in the post box, or, you know, drop it off at your local post office. A lot of the times, in the case of mail-in rebates, you don't need to send it within the dates where it specifies you have to purchase the product. There will be a purchase date or time window, and then there will be a sending time window. Most of the time it is just that the the letter that you send in has to be postmarked by a certain date. The Duo Fusion one that I just said had past, you know, it's past its best now, but that had a post by date of, I believe, the 31st of December. So as long as you actually purchased the product in the time frame that it specified, and then you posted it by the 31st of December, you were totally fine. Obviously they're going to receive it after the 31st, but just make sure that they get it before the postmark date. Some of them, like in this case, I think it says it has to get there by the 17th of December, oh sorry, postmarked by the 17th or the 14th of December. Obviously I'll write it here so that you know for sure which dates it is, and then it says, and then they have to receive it by the 31st. So a lot of the times with these mail-in rebates, they do give you a really good time frame, a good long window to be able to either purchase the product and also to be able to send it off. So they do take that into account. But another good reason why they do that, and I probably, you know, it's part of maybe them getting you to buy the product, is if they make that window long, maybe you see it at the time and you think, oh, I've got plenty of time to send this off, I don't need to worry about it right now, and then obviously most of us end up forgetting about it, not doing it, and then you never get the reimbursement for it. So bear that in mind, do it as quickly as possible and you shouldn't have any problems. So, and also if you do wait a long time and then you kind of remember about it in 3 months time, you're going to feel really disappointed and outdone that you you didn't actually send it off. So bear that in mind now and don't make any mistakes so that you have a breeze of an experience with mailing.
Okay guys, so I did actually mention at the beginning that the only way to submit this, or the way to submit it, was to submit the rebate electronically. I said it wasn't really like a kind of a usual mail-in rebate because we weren't mailing anything in. However, after actually submitting my own, I did come across another avenue of being able to submit this as an actual mail-in rebate. I did want to include this in the video as I did think that it may benefit quite a few of you who maybe don't have the knowledge to upload the pictures or send the pictures from your phone, or maybe don't have a smartphone to take good quality pictures of your receipt. So if you are one of those people that would prefer to mail your rebate form in, I would personally recommend doing this electronically if you can, just because it is kind of the only method maybe of knowing that they've definitely got your rebate form, because you've sent it electronically and you're going to get an instant notification to make yourself aware that they have received it. Obviously you're not going to get that with a mail-in rebate where you physically mail it in, because you know, you're going to have to keep track of it and you know, track your rebate to make sure they've received it. There is, I guess, a small chance that they don't receive it and there is problems. Like I said, I haven't personally received or had any problems myself, but this is just for somebody that does want to just purely mail it in, maybe even if it's just as far as your preference. So if you see this screen here, and I am going to include the link for this screen below as well because it was a little bit different to the one that we saw originally. I don't know whether they've just added this on as a different method, but, you know, like I said, this does look a little bit different to the one that I showed you in the previous step-by-step guide. So we're going to land on this page, which is submit the offer. There's going to be quite a few offers. These are similar to the ones that were listed before in that kind of little chart, but we're going to go all the way down here and we are going to find the one that we want right here, and this is the save up to $22 on the first response pregnancy pro test kit. It's got the same offer code, just kind of shown a little bit differently visually. You're going to click on submit this offer. Okay guys, so when you click on that submit offer kind of tab, you're going to be met with the same terms and conditions that you obviously saw prior and when we were submitting this electronically. Some of you that were really kind of focused on what I was saying may have noticed that within those terms and conditions that it said something about an envelope being postmarked by a specific date, and then like the other terms and conditions it said to mail it into this particular address, which was the MAIL Rebate Centre, attention, try it free, first response pregnancy pro digital pregnancy test and app access program, then the code PO Box 426015 Del Rio, Texas, and then obviously the zip code. Some of you may realise that that was also mentioned in the method to electronically send it. However, this is actually just about kind of using the mail-in option, which I've just come across. As I said, I didn't see that before. For those of you who did submit it electronically or are going to submit it electronically, don't worry about sending anything to this address. This address is purely for those who don't do it electronically and do want to opt to send the form in via snail mail. So once we have accepted these terms and conditions, it's going to show you this screen here, which like I said wasn't available before. I don't know why. As it's saying here, the online version is recommended, and if you press submit online you are going to be met with the same electronic file or electronic form that I obviously went through all the steps on already. For those of you that do want to send it by mail, do click on this fill out my form here, then print it, and then you're obviously going to have to send this printed in form with some other things, which I'm going to show a clip kind of separately of me doing that as if I was going to send it in manually, just for those of you that do want to do it this way. Bear in mind for this one you'll need a printer, a stamped envelope and additional items as required in the terms and conditions. So if you click on this fill out my form here and then print it form, you are going to be met with this screen here. You're going to be able to fill in your first name, your last name, your email, confirm your email, your address, all of that good information, and you're going to press the continue button. That is actually going to turn all of that information electronically into a form which you can print out. The form which you print out will then obviously have all the information just like we included for the electronic form, which is obviously about the store that you purchased it from, when we put our CVS store in. It's also going to say the date that you bought it, and it's also going to ask for the UPC code and how much your transaction actually cost you. So all of those questions are going to be on the form that you print out, and now I'm going to cut to a clip of me actually putting this together as if I was mailing it in, just for those of you again who do want to mail it in. So I hope this helps you.
Okay guys, so I did promise you that I was going to put in this little excerpt here, and this is just for those of you that do decide to do their mail-in rebate this way, whether it is for this specific product or for any other product in the future. So I did think that this was beneficial for me to put in. Yes, okay, this rebate is probably better to submit electronically, but most mail-in rebates are obviously, as they say, mail-in, and so this would kind of benefit any other mail-in rebate that you carry out or process in the future. So what you're going to need is obviously the product that you purchased. You're going to need the initial receipt or the proof of receipt. So basically that is the receipt that you purchased the product with. Mine has all of these A or Fs all over them because that was my unique verification code that I used to submit mine electronically. So don't kind of take notice of that as much if you are submitting this via mail, because you won't be asked to do that. So yours will be a clean receipt as you got it from the store. You are going to need your submission form. That's the one I just mentioned a minute ago about printing off. Mine's just a blank piece of paper because obviously mine's like a little bit of a mock setup, so just imagine that's your submission form. You're going to need a Sharpie. The Sharpie is obviously to write on the envelope to make things stand out so the address is nice and clear for sending. You're obviously going to need some stamps to send your mail. So these are just some forever stamps because I just like to buy these because they're going to last all the time. Some scissors. The scissors are great for cutting the UPC barcode off the product and applying it to the form. I've also got some sticky tape here and some envelopes. These envelopes are just the general security envelopes. These have got a self-seal on the back of them. And I do just want to kind of mention here that I did get these from the Dollar Tree. They're just a general envelope, I guess. You can see the sizes on the box. And these were $1 for 30, which is an absolute steal. So I would recommend picking up your envelopes for things like this at the Dollar Tree or any dollar store because it just makes it cheaper for you. And you can get 30 mail-in rebates for the price of $1, which is fantastic. These do have a self-seal on them, but I would recommend the sticky tape just for sealing the envelope closed, because that is going to kind of make sure that your envelope doesn't fall apart apart just in case on its route to the rebate centre. And also I'd recommend using the sticky tape for actually putting over the address label or the address that you write on the front of the address on the front of the envelope, just to make sure that any weather doesn't kind of you know, make it rub off or anything like that, and then obviously it will get lost on its route. And also a stapler. This isn't a necessity, but I would recommend stapling your original receipt to the submission form to make sure everything is kept together, and that's for your personal records, and it's also for the record or the, I guess, the benefit of the person who receives it at the mail-in rebate centre, because what if they open their what if they open your mail and the receipt goes flying in one direction and they've got the mail-in rebate form in their hand and they're like, where's the receipt? You know, I just kind of like to think of everything. It may seem a little bit ridiculous, but you kind of just want to make sure that you know, all of your bases are covered, like I've mentioned numerous times in this video, and just make sure everything is together. So let's move on to the first step that you will need to do when you, I guess, carry out your mail-in rebate. Okay, so the first step to processing your mail-in rebate would be to have your submission form in front of you. Now this submission form, like I said before, is a mock-up one for me. This isn't obviously how yours is going to look because mine's blank. This is literally you know, how it's going to look. How yours is going to obviously be covered in your information and everything, and it's going to have a little area where you can include the UPC barcode, and also where you can stick the UPC barcode if necessary, and it's also going to have a place where you can kind of write all of your details in and everything, you know, such as the ones that I mentioned just a little bit ago. You're going to get your original receipt, and I'm going to recommend that you circle, like I've already done here, the actual product and the product price itself. That also mentions to do that in the terms and conditions. You're then going to take it to the top of your submission form, and you're going to use your stapler to staple it on so it is nice and securely attached. Okay, so once you've done that, the next process that you need to carry out, and I'll just fold this up for now just to make sure that everything's together. So the next process that you need to carry out is actually taking the UPC code off the product. Now I already went through this, but our UPC code is here. I'm not actually going to do that because obviously that would damage my box, and I don't want to open it or anything at the moment in case I do pass it on to somebody. But in some cases, instead of just writing the UPC code from the product, they will want you to actually open the packet and cut this UPC code out. And obviously that is why I have the scissors to this little section here, and then you will have the UPC code, and on the form there is going to be an area where you want to stick or apply that UPC code, and again I would apply that with sticky tape just because that's easier and it makes sure that everything is kind of in its place, and you know, it's not going to get blurred or anything like that. So once you have done that, you're going to take one of your envelopes here, and on this envelope you are obviously going to write your return address. So your return address is going to go in the top left hand corner. I'm just going to write a return address, obviously, just so you kind of get the gist of where you need to put it. And then the actual address is going to go in this area here. Obviously that's going to be to go into the in-mail rebate centre, and I will kind of put a little description down here of where you do need to send it to. That is also listed in the terms and conditions for your reference. And then you obviously need to put a postage stamp in this top right hand corner. So like I said before, I've got these Forever stamps, and I always like to keep a pack of these on hand just so that I have them for rebates, and I'm just going to stick this in the top right hand corner. So obviously this is going to be filled out, this is going to be filled out, and then what you're going to do is, like I always do, I would just fold this all up together just like this, and I would kind of make sure that the receipt is kept inside just so that it is nice and secure again. And then you're going to pop this into this sheet, or into this sheet, and then into this envelope like so. And you're going to take this, obviously this self-seal sticky tape off, stick it down, and then I would, like I said, I would grab my sticky tape. This is a bit ridiculous, I guess, for something like this, but this is just packing tape, it's clear tape, and I would stick clear tape on the return address, or over the return address, and over the address that it is going to. And then on the back, when I stick this down, I would obviously put sticky tape over this bit too, just to make sure it doesn't open while in the post. So then what you're going to do is you are going to send this in the post and have it postmarked, so you need to send it before the 14th of January, and obviously, you know, these are going to get here within a not here, they're going to may get to the In My Rebate Centre within a couple of days after posting, so you should be totally fine with getting it there within the kind of the deadline, which is getting it to the In My Rebate Centre by the 31st of January. So it's a really simple process. There really isn't that much to it, but you know, for those of you that may be new to couponing or that have never sent a rebate form in before, there are a lot of terms and conditions, and so a lot of you may want to kind of just be at ease and know the process in its entirety. So I do hope this has helped some of you, and I'm really glad that I did find this additional method to send this one in via a mail-in, because I know that doing this electronically is not a common process, and for those of you that do just want to mail it in, you know, it's there for you. So I hope this has helped, and yeah, let's move on. Okay guys, so I really hope that this complete step-by-step tutorial has been really helpful to you, especially to those of you that have maybe heard of rebates and not really followed through with either doing them or not knowing the steps and being quite confused. I hope now that you at least have a bit of knowledge of understanding of how these work. Please bear in mind, like I said before, that these do take quite a long time to be processed, around 4 to 6 weeks. So like I printed off the submission kind of record that they provided me with at the end when I did submit mine. I made sure to print that off. I keep that in a record where I have all my my mail-in rebates so that I can keep track of them when they come in, whether that be with a check or whether a Visa prepaid card. I always mark off to make sure that I now know that that one has arrived and it's, you know, being dealt with. For you, I do strongly recommend doing that. If that seems a little bit too far-fetched, then maybe even just write a little note in the notes app on your phone so that you know to be aware of it, and then when it comes you can kind of just take that quickly off your list. Or even if you just write a little list for yourself and leave it in a safe place, emphasis on the safe place, so that you remember, you know, to double check and make sure that those come through. I haven't to this date had any issues per se with getting my mail-in rebates. There is one that I still haven't received from a few months ago, but they can sometimes take like up to 12 weeks, so do bear that in mind. I believe this one takes around 4 to 6 weeks, so if you go outside of that amount of time and everything has gone through smoothly and you've received the verification email as well, then just make sure that you do follow up with the company to make sure that something didn't go wrong in the process. You know, just make sure that you keep on top of things. So yeah, this one should turn up within 4 to 6 weeks, hopefully, if you fill this out, this form out as quickly as possible and as neatly and organised as possible, making sure that you have all the detail that they've requested from you. Then this should be really simple and you should probably receive it sooner. It's when you kind of miss information off, or you don't put as much effort into actually highlighting certain things, that you can sometimes fall through and maybe it'll take a little bit longer for them to process. Just make it as easy as possible for them to process, because if you think about it, they must receive thousands and thousands and thousands of rebate requests. If you can just make yours so simple to follow and easy to go through, it's going to make their lives much easier, and it's probably going to make their organisation on their end a lot easier as well. So it's going to always work in your benefit, so just bear that in mind. So I hope this video has been helpful. I hope that it's been at least easy to follow, and yeah, if you have any questions about this or any other rebates, please leave them in the comments below. I'd be really happy to help you on this particular topic, and yeah, I hope that I will see you in my next video. Have a great night and I will see you soon. Bye.